What happens when a Hollywood legend faces a host who knows no boundaries? This moment on The View became one of those unforgettable events etched in the memory of viewers. Sylvester Stallone, an icon of action films and a symbol of resilience, came to the show to promote his new movie. But no one was prepared for what happened next. The studio froze, the audience held their breath, and producers scrambled to regain control of the broadcast. This is a story about dignity, respect, and the strength to stay true to oneself under pressure. A sunny morning in New York. The View studio buzzes with anticipation. Bright spotlights bathe the stage in warm light, and the hum of the audience creates an electric atmosphere. In the background, the familiar show logo looms, and at the center sits the round table with hosts Joy Behar, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Sunny Hostin. Today is a special day. The guest is Sylvester Stallone, a star whose Rocky and Rambo films have inspired generations. He's here to talk about his new project, a dramatic film about a war veteran battling post-traumatic stress disorder. The studio doors swing open, and Stallone steps into the spotlight. His recognizable walk, confident but unhurried, instantly sparks thunderous applause. Dressed in a simple yet elegant gray suit with an open-collared white shirt, his eyes carry that familiar mix of strength and vulnerability that has made him a fan favorite. He smiles, waves to the audience, and takes his seat. The crowd erupts, with someone shouting, "Rocky!" Cameras catch his reaction, a slight smile, as if he's used to it but still grateful. Joy Behar, known for her sharp tongue, takes the lead. Her eyes glint, and her voice carries a hint of sarcasm. "Sylvester, welcome to The View," she says, her tone suggesting today's show won't be an easy one. Whoopi Goldberg offers a warmer greeting, while Sarah Haynes and Sunny Hostin smile, trying to maintain a friendly vibe. But there's a subtle tension in the air, as if everyone knows Joy won't stick to simple questions about the movie. "So, Sylvester," Joy begins, glancing at her notes, "your new film is about a veteran. A very serious topic. But let's be honest, you're the guy famous for running around in boxing gloves and shooting machine guns. Doesn't it feel a bit hypocritical to play a serious actor after all those explosions and muscles?" The studio falls silent. The audience, just moments ago cheering, freezes. The camera catches Sunny Hostin awkwardly looking away, while Sarah Haynes nervously shuffles her papers. Whoopi raises an eyebrow but stays quiet, letting the moment unfold. Stallone pauses, his face calm, but a faint spark flickers in his eyes. He leans forward slightly, his voice low and measured. "Joy," he starts, "I get where that question's coming from. But I wasn't just running around in gloves. Every film I've done is about fighting, about getting back up after you're knocked down. This new project, it's about the same thing, just deeper. It's about people who come back from war and try to find themselves." The audience claps, but Joy doesn't back down. Her smile widens, but it's colder now. "Oh, that's all very nice, Sylvester. But doesn't it feel like you're just jumping on a trend? You know, veterans, trauma, mental health, it's all so in right now. Are you just trying to cash in on it?" Tension builds. This time, the silence in the studio is heavy, almost palpable. Someone in the audience gasps softly, and an operator behind the camera nervously adjusts their headset. Producers backstage exchange worried glances. The broadcast is slipping out of control. Stallone clenches his fists under the table, but his face remains composed. He takes a deep breath, as if gathering his thoughts. "Joy," he says, his voice firmer now, "I'm not jumping on any trend. I grew up in a neighborhood where people fought for every day. I know what struggle is, and I know what pain is. This film isn't about trends, it's about people who deserve to be heard." The audience erupts in applause, but Joy presses on. She leans forward, her eyes narrowing. "Oh, Sylvester, spare us the hard-knock life story. You're a Hollywood star, living in a mansion, driving fancy cars. Doesn't it feel a bit disingenuous to talk about veteran struggles? You never fought in a war, did you?" Sarah Haynes tries to intervene, her voice trembling with unease. "Joy, I think we all appreciate that Sylvester wants to shed light on important issues. But Joy cuts her off, keeping her eyes locked on Stallone. I'm just saying, people are tired of stars pretending they're one of us. You're not one of us, Sylvester. You're a brand. The words land like a stone in water. Someone in the audience gasps, "Whoa!" while others start whispering. The camera zooms in on Stallone's face. His jaw tightens, his eyes flash, but he still holds himself together. Whoopi finally steps in, her voice calm but firm. "Joy, let's give Sylvester a chance to explain." But Joy just shrugs, as if to say, "I'm just doing my job." Stallone slowly rises from his chair. His movements are deliberate, but there's an undeniable power in them. The studio freezes, even the sound engineers stop muttering into their headsets. "Joy," he says, his voice cutting through the silence. "I didn't come here to justify myself. I came to talk about a film that might help people. But if you want to talk about disingenuous, let's talk about shows that boost ratings by tearing down their guests." The audience gasps audibly. Some start clapping, others pull out their phones to record. Sarah Haynes covers her mouth, and Sonny Hostin looks at Joy with an expression that screams, "What have you done?" Joy, however, doesn't flinch. She leans back in her chair and smiles, as if she got exactly the reaction she wanted. "Oh, Sylvester, don't be so sensitive. It's just television. People want drama, and I deliver." That line is the final straw. Stallone turns to the audience, his gaze steady but filled with dignity. "This isn't just television," he says, his voice trembling with restrained anger. "It's about respect. Respect for people who sacrifice everything. Respect for those trying to make a difference. And if you think humiliating someone is how you get ratings, then I feel sorry for you." The moment of truth. Stallone turns abruptly and takes a step toward the exit. The audience erupts, some cheer, others shout, "Sylvester, don't go!" while many record every second on their phones. Cameras buzz, trying to keep up with him, as producers backstage frantically wave at operators to keep him in frame. Joy, for the first time in the show, looks rattled. She opens her mouth to speak, but the words catch. Whoopi grabs the microphone. "Sylvester, wait, let's talk!" But Stallone doesn't stop. Before disappearing backstage, he turns to the audience. His voice, though quiet, carries the weight of speaking to everyone in the studio, and millions watching at home. "I didn't fight in a war, but I know what fighting is. And I know that respect isn't something you can buy or sell. It's what we owe each other. Thank you for listening." The door closes behind him with a soft click that feels louder than any explosion in his films. The studio explodes with applause, but there are also murmurs of dissent. Joy sits, lips pursed, her face tense. Sarah Haynes tries to defuse the situation, saying something about the importance of dialogue, but her voice is drowned out by the noise. Producers and headsets shout, "Cut to commercial! Now!" Finale. The aftermath. When the show returns from the break, the studio feels different. Joy tries to crack a joke, but it falls flat. Whoopi takes the lead, trying to steer the show back to normal, but even she seems shaken. The audience is divided. Some whisper about how Stallone put Joy in her place, while others think he overreacted. On social media, clips of Stallone's exit are already going viral, with hashtags like #Stallone vs. Behar and #respect trending. That evening, the video spreads across platforms, from X to YouTube. Comments are split. Some accuse Joy of crossing a line, others say Stallone was too sensitive. But most agree his words about respect hit home. Media outlets pick up the story, calling it the TV moment of the year. Some speculate Stallone's exit was staged, but the majority see it as a genuine stand for principles. Epilogue. A question for the audience. This clash between Sylvester Stallone and Joy Behar went down in history as a moment when a star stood up for what he believed in. Who was right? Did Stallone do the right thing by walking out? Was Joy out of line with her provocations? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated on stories like this. Sylvester Stallone vs. Joy Behar, a conflict that made television history, Part 2, After Sylvester Stallone's dramatic exit from the View studio, the tension lingers. The moment when the Hollywood legend left Joy Behar speechless has already gone viral, but the story is far from over. The studio struggles to return to its usual rhythm, but the shadow of the conflict looms large. What happened backstage? How did the hosts, producers, and Joy herself react? And most importantly, will Stallone return to finish this battle? This part of the story reveals how the conflict sparked a public debate that forced everyone to reflect on the boundaries of respect and the power of standing by one's principles. Back in the studio, chaos after the storm. When the show returns from the commercial break, the View studio feels like a battlefield after a skirmish. The spotlights seem too harsh, the audience's murmurs too loud. Whoopi Goldberg, trying to salvage the situation, takes the lead. Her voice is calm but laced with tension. "All right, folks, this is The View, and we always talk about important things, even when it gets messy," she says, addressing the audience. The camera catches her glance at Joy Behar, who sits with a stone-faced expression, arms crossed. Her usual confident smile now looks forced. Sarah Haynes, visibly uncomfortable, tries to lighten the mood. "I think we all respect Sylvester's passion for his project," she begins. "And maybe we veered off topic a bit." Her words sound weak, and the audience responds with only a few half-hearted claps. Sunny Hostin, who's been silent until now, finally speaks up. "I think Sylvester had every right to stand up for himself. It's about respect." Her words spark murmurs of approval, but Joy just shrugs, as if unaffected. Backstage, the producers are in a frenzy. Headsets crackle with chaotic instructions. "Keep the cameras on Whoopi. Don't zoom in on Joy." One producer, a young man in a headset, whispers to a colleague. "This is a disaster. Social media's exploding." On the control room monitors, clips of Stallone's exit are racking up thousands of views on X, with comments ranging from "Sylvester is king" to "Joy Behar crossed the line." Meanwhile, in a hallway behind the studio, Stallone stands against the wall, holding a water bottle. His manager, a concerned man in a dark suit, tries to calm him. "Sly, you did the right thing. But maybe go back? Show them you're bigger than this." Stallone looks at him, his eyes still burning but his voice steady. "I said what I needed to say. If they want drama, that's their business. I'm here for the film, not their ratings." Public reaction, a viral moment. While the studio tries to regain its footing, the moment has already taken over the internet. On X, hashtags like #Stallone walks out and #Joy Behar cancelled trend, and clips of Stallone's speech about respect garner millions of views. Users share snippets of him saying, "Respect isn't something you can buy or sell." A viral post from a well-known film critic reads, "Sylvester Stallone just reminded us why he's an icon. He's not just Rocky, he's the real deal." Another user writes, "Joy Behar thought she could humiliate a legend. Big mistake." But opinions are divided. Some argue Stallone overreacted. "It's just a show, he should have been ready for tough questions," one commenter writes. Others defend Joy, claiming she was just doing her job. The View is about debates, not flattery. Stallone couldn't handle the heat. Media outlets fuel the fire with headlines like, "Stallone stuns Joy Behar," and "Did The View go too far?" In the studio, the hosts try to move on to the next topic, but the conflict's shadow lingers in every word. Whoopi makes another attempt to smooth things over, addressing the audience. "You know, we're here to talk about big issues, and sometimes that stirs emotions. But let's remember we're all human." Her words are sincere, but the audience responds tepidly. Someone in the back whispers, "She's trying to save the show, but it's not the same." Backstage, tension mounts behind the scenes. Producers scramble to figure out what to do next. The head producer, a stern-faced woman, speaks into her headset. "We can't just let him go. This is the biggest moment the show's had in years." She turns to an assistant. "Find Stallone. Ask him to come back. Tell him we'll give him time to speak." The assistant, a nervous young man, nods and races down the hallway. Stallone is still by the wall when the assistant finds him. Mr. Stallone, please come back. We want to give you a chance to finish your thoughts. The audience is on your side. Stallone looks at him, his face unreadable. Kid, I said what I needed to say. But if they want another round, I'm ready. He pauses, as if weighing his words. But it'll be on my terms. When Stallone re-enters the studio, the audience erupts in cheers. Cameras capture every step. His walk is confident, but his eyes betray a hint of weariness. Joy Behar, seeing him, stiffens slightly but quickly flashes her trademark smile. Whoopi looks relieved, while Sarah and Sonny exchange surprised glances. Stallone sits down, but this time his posture says he's not here for games. Climax. Round 2. Whoopi takes the lead, trying to steer the conversation back to the film. Sylvester, thank you for coming back. Let's talk about your project. Why is this story about veterans so important to you? But Joy interrupts before Stallone can answer. Sylvester, I didn't mean to offend you. But you have to admit, shows like ours give you a platform. You can't just walk out when you don't like a question. The studio freezes again. The camera catches Stallone's hand clenching into a fist, but his voice remains calm. Joy, a platform isn't an excuse to tear people down. I came here to talk about people who gave everything for their country. You made it about yourself. His words land like a punch, and the audience erupts in applause. Even Whoopi can't suppress a slight smile. Joy, however, doesn't back down. It's not about me, Sylvester. It's about giving viewers the truth. You can't pretend your Rocky persona is the real you. Her tone is less confident now, and there's a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Stallone leans forward, his gaze piercing. Rocky isn't me. But he's what I believe in. In fighting. In respect. In giving everyone a shot. And if you don't get that, that's your problem, not mine. The audience roars with applause, louder than before. Someone shouts, Sly, you're the best! Cameras catch Joy pressing her lips together, while Sarah Haynes nervously adjusts her hair. Whoopi raises a hand to calm the crowd. All right, let's take a beat. Sylvester, tell us what you want people to take away from your film. Stallone turns to the audience, his voice soft but resolute. I want you to see the people who fight every day. Veterans who come home and don't give up. People who fall and get back up. And I want you to remember, respect is what makes us human. His words feel like a final chord, and the studio erupts in applause. Finale, aftermath and reflection this time. Stallone stays until the segment ends, but his presence is a challenge. Joy tries to crack a joke to regain control, but it falls flat. As the show wraps, the audience gives a standing ovation, and cameras focus on Stallone, who nods to the crowd with a faint smile. Backstage, producers breathe a sigh of relief. The broadcast was saved, but at the cost of a social media storm. In the days that follow, the conflict dominates headlines. Magazines write about Stallone's triumph and Joy Behar's fall. On X, memes compare Stallone to Rocky winning in the ring. Some critics defend Joy, arguing she was just doing her job, but most agree Stallone showed how to stand with dignity in a conflict. His film about veterans gains extra attention, with many noting that his sincerity in the studio added weight to the project. Stallone comments only once, in a brief X post. Thanks for the support. Let's talk about respect and those who deserve to be heard. This clash between Sylvester Stallone and Joy Behar wasn't just a TV moment, it forced people to think about the line between entertainment and respect. Who was right? Did Stallone do the right thing by returning to stand his ground? Did Joy go too far with her provocations? And most importantly, how can we use platforms to uplift rather than tear down? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to stay updated on stories like this.